Have you ever sat down to what looks like the perfectly healthy breakfast whole, grains, fruit, maybe a glass of juice, and felt confident you were doing your body a favor, only to wonder later why you're more tired, waking up at night, or feeling off in ways you can't quite explain? What if I told you that for millions of older adults, that exact kind of meal may be quietly placing dangerous stress on the kidneys without pain, without warning, and without showing up until real damage has already begun? Here's the urgent truth. Most people never hear kidney decline, rarely announces itself loudly. It doesn't usually come with sharp pain or dramatic symptoms. Instead, it works in silence, often accelerated by foods we've trusted for decades. In fact, research shows that a significant portion of adults over 60 are losing kidney function right now and don't even know it. By the time standard symptoms appear, the window for easy correction is often gone, and that's what makes this so serious. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and today I want to stop that silent damage before it goes any further. Because the problem isn't that you're eating bad foods. The real problem is that your kidneys are changing with age, and no one ever taught you how to adjust your diet to protect them. The good news, and this is where you should lean in, is that protecting your kidneys does not require extreme diet sphere or giving up everything you enjoy. It requires awareness, smarter choices, and a few strategic swaps that can dramatically reduce the strain on your body. And as we go through this, one food in particular, a creamy favorite almost everyone considers harmless, will likely surprise you the most. Stay with me, because understanding this could be the difference between supporting your kidneys for years to come or unknowingly pushing them closer to a point they can't recover from. Bananas are often the first healthy habit people mention. Easy to chew, gentle on the stomach, packed with nutrients. Many older adults have eaten one every morning for years, believing it protects the heart. And they're not wrong about the heart. Potassium helps relax blood vessels. But here's where the problem quietly begins. The same potassium that helps your heart can overload aging kidneys that no longer filter as efficiently as they once did. I remember a patient, Linda, in her early 70s. She was doing everything right. She walked daily, avoided junk food, and ate 2 bananas a day because a friend told her it would stop nighttime leg cramps. She felt fine, no pain, no warning signs. But her routine blood work told a different story. Her potassium levels were creeping up, not dangerously high yet, but high enough to signal that her kidneys were struggling to keep up. Once we replaced bananas with lower potassium fruits like apples and berries, her levels normalized within weeks. Here's the science behind it. A single medium banana contains around 420 milligrams of potassium. For younger kidneys, that's manageable. But as kidney filtration naturally declines with age, excess potassium can linger in the bloodstream. When potassium builds up, it doesn't just stress the kidneys, it can interfere with heart rhythm, contributing to fatigue, weakness, or that strange flutter some people feel but ignore. The most common mistake isn't eating a banana once in a while. It's eating them daily, or worse, blending 2 or 3 into smoothies where there's no natural stopping point. Whole fruit makes you feel full. Smoothies let potassium pile up fast. A simple solution isn't fear, it's awareness. Rotate fruits. Choose grapes, strawberries, or pears more often. Keep bananas as an occasional choice, not a daily ritual. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another group of foods many people trust even more than bananas, and for aging kidneys, they can be even more dangerous. After hearing about bananas, many people feel relieved and think, fine, I'll just eat more greens instead. Spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens. They're praised everywhere as superfoods. Rich in vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber, they look like the safest choice you can make. But for aging kidneys, these dark leafy greens hide a double problem that almost no one talks about. I once worked with a man named Robert, 68, who proudly told me he ate spinach almost every night. Sometimes raw in salads, sometimes sautéed, sometimes blended into smoothies. He believed he was cleansing his body. What he didn't realize was that his evening fatigue and recurring kidney stone scares weren't random. They were signals. Spinach and Swiss chard are extremely high in potassium and oxalates, a combination that can quietly overwhelm kidneys that are already slowing down. Here's the science. When spinach is cooked, it shrinks dramatically. A whole bag can turn into a few bites, concentrating minerals into a very small portion. That means a massive potassium load hitting the bloodstream all at once. On top of that, oxalates bind with calcium in the kidneys, increasing the risk of kidney stones. Studies consistently show that people prone to stones or reduced kidney function should limit high oxalate greens, especially when eaten frequently. The mistake isn't eating greens, it's treating all greens as equal. Kale, cabbage, arugula, and romaine lettuce are far lower in oxalates and generally easier for the kidneys to handle. If you love spinach, boiling it and discarding the water can reduce some oxalates, though it doesn't eliminate the risk completely. The smarter strategy is rotation, not restriction. Change the greens you use, vary preparation methods, and avoid piling them into daily smoothies where portion control disappears. But understanding leafy greens still isn't the full picture, because there's another healthy staple hiding a problem even harder to detect, one that doesn't show up on labels at all, yet can quietly drain your bones and strain your kidneys at the same time. After learning that even fruits and greens can stress aging kidneys, many people say the same thing. At least I'm safe with whole grains. Whole wheat bread has been drilled into us for decades as the smarter choice, more fiber, better blood sugar, control heart healthy, and for many younger bodies that's true. But for aging kidneys, whole wheat bread carries a hidden mineral problem that almost no one checks for because you can't see it on the label. I think of a woman named Carol, 71, who proudly switched everything in her kitchen to whole wheat bread, crackers, toast every morning. Her diet looked perfect on paper, but over time she started noticing bone aches and unexplained fatigue. Her labs later showed rising phosphorus levels. She was shocked. She wasn't eating junk food. She wasn't overeating, yet her kidneys were quietly struggling. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Whole wheat bread contains significantly more phosphorus than white bread because the bran and germ are left intact. Phosphorus is essential for bones, but only when the kidneys can clear the excess. As kidney function declines with age, phosphorus begins to accumulate in the blood. When that happens, the body pulls calcium out of the bones to rebalance levels, weakening bones while forcing the kidneys to work even harder. Studies show elevated phosphorus is linked not only to kidney strain, but also to bone loss and vascular calcification in older adults. The real danger: phosphorus is not required to be listed on nutrition labels. You can read sodium, sugar, calories, and still miss the very mineral stressing your kidneys. The common mistake is assuming darker, denser bread is always better. For many seniors, rotating in white bread or sourdough can actually reduce phosphorus absorption while still allowing you to enjoy bread without guilt. This isn't about going backward. It's about choosing what fits your body now, not what worked at 40. But knowing this still isn't enough, because another grain praised even more than whole wheat can load your kidneys with both phosphorus and potassium at the same time. And most people eat it far more often than they realize. After realizing whole wheat bread isn't always kidney-friendly, many people shift to what they believe is the safest option left on the plate: brown rice. It's praised for fiber, minerals, and long-term health. For years, brown rice has worn the label of the responsible choice, especially for people trying to eat clean. But for aging kidneys, brown rice carries a double load that often goes unnoticed: potassium and phosphorus, day after day, meal after meal. I remember a patient named James, 69, who ate brown rice almost every evening. Not because he loved it, but because he believed he should. He'd been told white rice was empty, while brown rice was protective. Over time, he began feeling heavy after meals, more fatigued in the evenings, and strangely swollen in the mornings. Nothing dramatic, just enough to brush off. His labs later showed rising mineral levels that his kidneys were struggling to clear. Here's the science most people never hear. Brown rice keeps the bran and germ of the grain, which is exactly where potassium and phosphorus are stored. 1 cup of cooked brown rice contains significantly more of both minerals than white rice. For younger kidneys, this isn't a big deal. But as filtration efficiency naturally declines with age, those extra minerals don't leave as easily. Instead, they accumulate quietly, adding pressure over time. Think of your kidneys like a kitchen drain. White rice is water, it flows through smoothly. Brown rice is water mixed with fine sediment. It still drains, but much more slowly. When that sediment arrives every single day, backups become more likely. The mistake isn't eating brown rice occasionally. It's making it a daily staple out of guilt rather than need. Rotating grains, white rice, couscous, or even small portions of pasta can significantly reduce mineral load without sacrificing enjoyment. Portion control matters too. Half a cup instead of a full bowl can make a real difference. But even if you fix grains perfectly, there's another category of foods that places a far heavier strain on aging kidneys, one most people consume without thinking often before bed, believing it's helping their bones. After grains, many people feel reassured and say, at least dairy is good for my bones. Milk, cheese, yogurt. These foods have been promoted for decades as essential for strength and longevity. For growing bodies, that message made sense. But for aging kidneys, dairy brings a hidden combination that can quietly create long-term stress, high phosphorus plus acid load from animal protein. I once cared for a man named Robert, 72, who had a simple nightly ritual, a large glass of milk before bed, and cheese with lunch every day. He wasn't overeating, and he wasn't unhealthy. Yet he began noticing persistent itching on his skin and a deep fatigue that didn't match his activity level. When his lab work came back, his phosphorus levels were elevated. His kidneys weren't failing, but they were clearly overworked. Reducing dairy portions and switching his evening milk to almond milk made a noticeable difference within weeks. Here's the science behind this. Dairy products are among the highest dietary sources of phosphorus, and unlike phosphorus found naturally in plants, phosphorus from animal sources is absorbed very efficiently. As kidney function declines with age, excess phosphorus lingers in the bloodstream. To rebalance, the body pulls calcium out of the bones, weakening them while increasing kidney workload. At the same time, animal protein produces more metabolic acid, forcing the kidneys to work harder to maintain blood balance. Research links chronic phosphorus overload to faster kidney, decline, bone loss, and vascular stiffness in older adults. The most common mistake isn't dairy itself, it's frequency and portion size. Drinking milk multiple times a day or eating hard cheeses daily adds up fast. Softer cheeses like brie or cream cheese usually contain less phosphorus, and plant-based milks such as almond or rice milk are often easier on the kidneys, though labels still matter. This isn't about eliminating dairy. It's about using it strategically, not automatically. But even if you manage dairy perfectly, there's another category that can overwhelm aging kidneys far faster. Because it doesn't just affect minerals, it quietly drives blood pressure higher with every spoonful. After adjusting fruits, greens, grains, and dairy, many people feel confident they've covered the big risks. And that's when canned soup slips in quietly, conveniently, and dangerously. It feels harmless, warm, comforting, easy to prepare. For many older adults, it's a go-to meal on tired days. But for aging kidneys, canned soup is often one of the fastest ways to create damage because it delivers hidden sodium in concentrated doses. I think of a patient named Helen, 74, who relied on canned vegetable soup several nights a week. She chose it because it was light and full of vegetables. Over time, she noticed her ankles swelling slightly by evening and her blood pressure creeping up despite medication. Nothing dramatic, but her kidneys felt the pressure long before she did. When we added up the sodium, one bowl of soup was providing nearly half of her daily limit, sometimes more. Here's the science. Sodium acts like a sponge. The more salt you consume, the more water your body holds on to dilute it. That extra fluid increases blood volume, raising blood pressure. And high blood pressure is like a constant fire hose aimed at the delicate filtering units of the kidneys. Studies consistently show that excess sodium accelerates kidney damage and worsens hypertension, especially in older adults whose vessels are already less flexible. The biggest trap is labeling. Reduced sodium doesn't mean low. Many soups still contain 600 to 800 milligrams per serving, and most people eat more than one serving. The common mistake is checking calories but ignoring the sodium line. The solution doesn't have to be complicated. Homemade soup using water or low-sodium broth herbs and simple ingredients gives you control. If you do use canned soup, look for no salt added. And here's a powerful tip: pour it into a strainer and rinse it. That single step can remove a significant amount of sodium. But even if you fix sodium perfectly, there's one food most people still trust, without question creamy, trendy, and praised as heart-healthy, that can overload aging kidneys more than almost anything else when eaten regularly. Now we arrive at the one food almost no one expects. Avocados are everywhere on toast, in salads, blended into smoothies, praised as the perfect source of healthy fat. They're creamy, satisfying, and constantly recommended for heart health. And here's the uncomfortable truth for aging kidneys. Avocados can be one of the heaviest potassium loads you can eat in a single sitting. I think of a woman named Susan, 70, who made guacamole every Sunday for her family. She didn't eat huge portions, just small tastes while cooking a little extra with dinner, sometimes avocado toast earlier in the day. What she noticed wasn't pain, but a deep fatigue by evening and occasional nausea she couldn't explain. When we reviewed her diet, the pattern was clear. Those repeated potassium spikes were quietly overwhelming kidneys that no longer cleared minerals as efficiently as they once did. Here's the science that shocks most people. One medium avocado can contain nearly twice the potassium of a banana. Potassium is essential, but only when your kidneys can remove the excess. As kidney filtration slows with age, that potassium lingers in the bloodstream. Over time, this can contribute to weakness, irregular heart rhythm, and increasing kidney strain. And unlike salty foods, there's no immediate warning sign. It feels clean, so people repeat it again and again. The biggest mistake isn't enjoying avocado. It's assuming that healthy fat means unlimited portions. A quarter of an avocado already delivers plenty of flavor and nutrients without overwhelming your system. For creamy textures, alternatives like roasted red pepper hummus, mashed peas, or even a thin layer of cream cheese can dramatically reduce potassium load while keeping meals enjoyable. This is the moment most people realize the pattern kidney damage doesn't come from one bad food, it comes from small trusted habits repeated daily. And that realization sets the stage for the most important question of all, how small changes starting today can actually slow kidney decline and help you stay out of dialysis far longer than you think. Before we wrap up, I want you to take a breath for a moment. If any of these foods surprised you, that's not a failure on your part. It's proof that you care enough about your health to keep learning. Your kidneys don't need perfection. They need understanding, consistency, and a lighter load as you age. Even small changes, rotating foods, adjusting portions, and paying attention to what your body's telling you can make a meaningful difference over time. If this video helped you see your daily meals in a new way, please save it so you can come back to it later or share it with someone you care about. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want clear, practical medical guidance you can actually use without fear, without extremes. Every week I share evidence-based insights to help you protect your kidneys, manage aging safely, and avoid problems before they become serious. Most importantly, remember, this kidney decline is not an overnight event, and protection isn't either. Your body responds to what you do consistently, not perfectly. With a few smarter choices starting today, you give your kidneys the chance to work more comfortably, more efficiently, and for many years to come. Take care of them, and they will take care of you.